Hey, Mark here, and I just have something fun for you. I have a new giveaway for the new Ben Foster movie, and I have 5 digital copies, and if you would like one, if you listen to this episode maybe the first few days when it's released, shoot me a message and be like, hey, Mark, I would love to get a copy of Ben Foster's new movie, Medieval, and put your name on the list. I'm going to do a drawing, and the 5 people who win will get the digital copy of the film. So yeah, Ben Foster and Academy Award winner Michael Caine, starring the action-packed epic Medieval, now streaming on Redbox. This sweeping saga of war and betrayal is inspired by the true story of one of the greatest warriors in history. A daring mercenary fights for freedom against corrupt kings as they battle for control of the Roman Empire. Stream Medieval instantly on Redbox on demand today. Rated R for Paramount Pictures. Yeah, just shoot me a message. Say, hey Mark, I would love one of these digital copies. I'll put your name in the drawing. I hope you win it. Thanks. Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that crossed several rivers to get here to record this episode. It's Billy Patterson.
You know, I don't do podcast guesting anymore. I turned down almost all of them. But if we're talking about one soundtrack, there's only one soundtrack that's forever, and I had to be here for it.
Listen, I had to use some strategery here to get you on this. So, I was on Hot Takes with Billy Business, and you got me on with Too Fast, Too Furious. Like, I'll talk Too Fast, Too Furious every single day of the week. I really would. I should do it like a breakdown of it 2 minutes at a time. Whoa. All right, I'll talk about that later. And then and then I was like, well, I want to get Billy on here. And then I've been doing a lot of soundtrack episodes lately, so I was like, he loves Batman Forever like I love Deep Blue Sea. And so I was like, let's talk to Batman Forever soundtrack, because I'm all about 90s soundtracks. I really am. So yeah, glad to have you.
Yeah, I mean, this was the golden age of music inspired by soundtracks, the eclectic mixes you would find on these things.
I love that you put inspired. Like, that's my favorite word, because
in air quotes.
Because remember that quote when they were talking about this soundtrack? They were kind of like, well, I think we got to start using, like, inspired by and not for the movie. Because only 5 songs ended up in this film from the soundtrack in this.
But
or 5 songs, yeah.
You say that as if that's not a lot. At this point, Batman Forever, of those first 4 movies, has the most needle drops from the soundtrack in the movie of all the Batman films. So I went back and looked. So the first Batman, which of course, you think, well, it's Prince, obviously, like, that's littered. No, there's 3. And only 2 of them are in the body of the film. And those 2 songs are basically set pieces written around those songs. It's the museum with Party Man, and then the parade with Trust. And then the end credits has Scandalous. 3 needle drops. When you get to Batman Returns, you have 1 song, which is Susie and the Banshees, Face to Face, and it is so collaborative with Danny Elfman that it's almost lost in the movie. It plays during the ballroom Shrek party scene, and it blends so seamlessly that by the time you get to Batman Forever, they made this conscious decision, like, we need to make this movie more MTV. We need to make it more pop. So this is where you start getting needle drops in the movie that are not built around set pieces. They are used exactly what, as like incidental music. You get it 5 times in this movie. I looked to see if Batman and Robin was the same. I was only able to find 4, which is 2 in the credits, Smashing Pumpkins and R. Kelly. And then there were 2 songs, Moloko and another one that I can't remember, during the motorcycle scene. It says that the Goo Goo Dolls song is in there somewhere. I don't know where it is, so it could tie Batman and Robin. But in terms of, like, hit you over the face, this is a needle drop. Batman Forever, that's the reigning champ.
Oh, that's in 95 when Offspring started pumping, I didn't know that was a cover at the time. I just knew in 94 Smash came out. And I loved Offspring. So when Offspring popped up in Batman Forever, that made me so happy. And then, I wasn't into U2, but Seal's Kiss from a Rose, when that hit during the end credits and the video, that was everywhere. Like, this Like I feel like I tie these songs just like this movie has music tied to it just as strongly, I would say, as many of the films of its era. And I have a question for you. If someone said to you, Billy, you can recreate Seal's Kiss from a Rose video, shot for shot with the same production value, exact same shots, would you do it?
Like, and I'm shirtless on top of a building?
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why would I not take that opportunity to be half naked in front of the bat signal? That's the dumbest no-brainer I've ever been presented in my life.
I was thinking about that, and if like tomorrow, if they asked me, I'd probably say no. But if like in 3 months, I'll be like, yeah, because that means like I could just get seal, like I could get seal ripped and get ready for it. But if I said no, I'd probably regret it for the rest of my life because the same production values, that light, that song, you know, it would probably really hurt my reputation for people watching me sing it, but it'd be worth it. It really would.
I don't think anyone would expect anything less from me. That if I just put my dad bod out there in a leather jacket in front of the bat signal, that just sounds like what people think I do anyway. So I don't think it's.
That's how I met you actually in 2012, 2013. I think you walked in with a unbuttoned shirt, and you were like holding a rose. And you were just, I was like, who is this guy?
Just singing Kiss from a Rose?
I was like, I like him.
Yeah,
this guy's a character. This guy's a character. I like him a lot. And I was like, hey, do you like Batman Forever? And you're like, I've never seen it. I was like, what?
What's Batman Forever? Who's? No, I think it's so funny that song is like synonymous now with Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, but it is.
It's Free Willy 3, right? Isn't that where that song first appeared?
No, it's Never Ending Story 3.
Oh, Never Ending Story 3.
Which I tried to look like, it looks like it was released theatrically in like 1.5 theaters in the US. It was on that soundtrack, and then Joel Schumacher heard it like a year later and was like, I want that in my movie. And we just rewrote history. And what's really strange is that song is not even like we leave the theater to that song. Like that song is halfway through the credits, and there's no MCU in 1995. No one is sticking around through the whole credits. So it's like, it's very bizarre to me that was the one that like popped, because it's like the U2 song, one that you're kind of like, you know, valiantly leaving the theater pumped up with, you know?
Yeah, and that's a great point too. And do you think it was the video? Do you think Joel Schumacher's like, I'm just going to put Seal shirtless in front of a bat symbol and have him sing? Like, because that video was everywhere too. That thing was.
That is so. Right, I saw the video a ton, way more than the U2 one. I feel like I only saw the U2 one like a couple times, but the Kiss from a Rose one was on like, you know, VH1 and MTV like all the time. The other thing that I think is strange, and now that I think more about it, I wonder if it was like literally just an inventory thing. So when I was a kid, I'm 8 years old when Batman Forever comes out. It's my first Batman I get to see in the theater.
Oh.
So like I am right in like the eye of the storm here. But I remember going in, and there was like the big cardboard stand and warehouse. That was the musical store of choice. And they had the soundtrack, the full album, and then they had a single, and it was the Val Kilmer Batman poster, you know, where he's got his elbow up. But it was for U2. It was for Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me. But the Seal song, at least where I lived, in the single, was not in Batman Forever packaging. It was the single from his album, and it's, you know, his kind of Seal logo where it's like the naked sculpted man with his head down. That was the packaging for the Kiss from a Rose single, or at least the tape single. So it's like, that's why I say like it's very bizarre to me that this song like popped, because it's like it doesn't have the Batman Forever branding on the packaging. It's the second song that you hear during the credits. It does not play in the film. I kind of think it has to be that music video was just rotated so heavily that it became synonymous.
I mean, it had the juggernaut of Warner Brothers behind it. It had a lot of money behind it, pushing it. So yeah, it was just everywhere. What was your first cassette? What's the first cassette you ever bought? I just want to know real quick, since we're talking music. I remember mine.
I mean, like the first one that like was like that I had, or the first one that was like, I am purchasing my own music with my own tastes.
You bought?
I think it was, well, I don't remember cassette, but CD I remember, because CD was like about that same time. Was ironically, I think it was I don't know if I'm saying this right. Fush You Mang. It was that first Smash Mouth album that had Walking on the Sun on it.
Yeah, nice.
I just was like, I must have this. That song is amazing. I think I was given Big Willie Style around the same time. So it was like those two CDs were big for me.
Those are some bangers in the 90s. Those are good. I bought my first cassette was a single. It was Stereo MC's Get Connected. Make sure you're connected. I bought that cassette single, and that was mine. But I learned how to record songs off the radio via my VHS tape, so I didn't really need to buy singles. I was one of those little maniacs as a kid. That was like Napster before Napster. You just have to wait and have good timing.
There was a little bit of that with. I definitely had the Kiss from a Rose single, but it was like that was a song your whole family could jam to. So I never felt it was like my tape. It was like a Patterson family tape. I did get the U2 Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me one, but my mom took it away.
Whoa, took away U2 from you? That one's not too bad, is it?
No, so I grew up, again, like, remember, context is everything. I'm 8 years old.
Yeah.
This was kind of at the very tail end of that kind of crazy satanic panic. And my mom was, very weird about every piece of media that came in the house. And so the title first, she was like, I don't like this. And then I remember, the memory is burned in my head. And she sat at our kitchen table, and she had a pair of headphones and a Walkman, and she played it. She's like, I'm going to listen to it, and I'll see if you can keep it. And there's lyrics in that song that's like, they want you to be Jesus. They'll go down on one knee, but they'll want their money back if you're alive at 33. And I think that was like, I don't even think she needed to know what the context was, because the hilarious part is that I found out much later on in life is like, Bono is like very Catholic. He's like very Christian. It was probably super like pro, like not pro Christian, but it was like definitely not probably the context that my mom took it. But so I got it taken away, and I was super bummed, not because I love that song, but because they had the score was the B side of the single.
Oh, so, the main Elliot Goldsmith score.
Right, and as an 8-year-old who doesn't know anything about like movies and how stuff works, like I was blown away that the music and the movie without talking and sound effects, like that was a possible thing that you could hear. So I was so bummed about losing that, not for U2, but because I was like, oh, but the music, like the actual music from the movies on here, and there's no other way to get it. Because back then, like score albums existed, but they were not sold. Like you kind of had to dig for it,
The number one score that so I was 13 when this came out, so I guess I was a little older. And I was also a free range child in Florida. And so I was kind of basically feral, like the kid from Mad Max. So I had, I would buy the Nirvana, the Pearl Jam cassettes. I had the Crow soundtrack. I bought tickets for White Fang 2 and another Crow. Like I was watching R-rated movies. I think I had the Pulp Fiction soundtrack already. So I was kind of a feral kid when this came out. But I do remember what you're talking about, the music. The first movie to hit me like that was Last of the Mohicans. And I believe I got the cassette with the VHS tape that I bought. And that Promontory came on, that
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But as a kid who's probably 10 years old listening to that jammed me up. Like I was on my bike riding around, and I revisited the place where they filmed it so my brother and I could reenact some scenes. But yeah, it's funny. Maybe you and I had the same experience with those scores. You sort of realize like, oh, you can listen to this. This isn't just on the screen. But yeah, hearing that score. Well, yeah, that changed a little, Mark, for sure. But like, I didn't even know that Elliot Goldsmith did this as opposed to Hans Zimmer from the first two. Like I thought it was just all the way through for all four. But I like what Elliot does.
So Elliot Goldenthal. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you any other score he did other than these two. I'm
Alien
sure
3.
he did. Okay.
He did Heat the same year.
He did. Wow, that's tonally very different.
Michael Mann to Joel Schumacher.
That's a weird year for any person like to live in mentally. It's so funny because, as a kid, like I definitely at that point I had seen the first Tim Burton Batman, but on TV. Because again, like it was kind of hard to get around like the PG-13 thing. That's why like that movie Batman Forever means so much to me, was because it was like I can't believe my parents like trust me and let me go see a the Batman movie. So when I hear Elliot Goldenthal's score, like to me at that point, that was the Batman theme. That's what it was. When I'm playing with my toys, that's the one I'm humming, which now it seems like crazy that anyone would use that one. But it's like, that's what it was. And when you listen to it now, you're just like, this was the first sign that you should know that this is a different Batman movie. Like, not just because it sounds different, but it's like tonally, like, Danny Elfman's like, this is a man hiding in the shadows. It's slow.
Oh wait, I said Hans Zimmer, didn't I? Sorry, it's Danny Elfman. My apologies.
Danny Elfman. Hans Zimmer do Batman v Superman and the Batman Begins and all those. But again, like think about those. All of those are very dark. They're very like there's something sinister. There's someone in the shadows. It's slow. It's moving. And then Elliot Goldenthal's like, Batman is here. He is the Caped Crusader. We are going to a fight right now. Like tonally, it's so different. But I actually think that if someone were to I think Batman Forever and Batman and Robin get clumped into one memory for a lot of people. I think if you took Batman Forever and you rescored it using just Danny Elfman, I think a lot of people's perception of Batman Forever would change. Like, I think it visually is so much more in line with those first two movies than people realize. It's just, you hear with your eyes sometimes, That's why, like, when Kiss, they took off their makeup in the 80s, they sold a ton of records, not because their music got better. It's because people just wanted to see what it was like, the band without their makeup on. It's like, it doesn't matter. So I think people just hear that music and they're like, well, this is tonally all different. It's like, but I bet you if you put Elfman's music over Batman Forever, it's a completely different experience.
Okay, so Batman Forever, I just want to say real quick, I do love from the actual score itself, from Elliot's score, I love City Boogie because it feels like old school Batman. I don't know, whenever you listen to that, that's the vibes I get. And I also love Under the Top. Like, I'll always remember the feeling of the drums going really hard when they walk in to see the Graysons do their bit before Two-Face kills them. But I love those bits. And then also Enigma's Variations, that thing gets operatic from it. Like, I love that. It's kind of nice not to have a super not dour or maybe gothic score. This was quite uplifting. And when they're running towards the camera, like, it pumps you up, that score, whenever you hear it. I love it. It makes me want to get takeaway. No, drive through. And just jam out to it.
One of my favorite Batman cues ever. Like, I think there's two that just are like inseparable. It's Descent into Mystery from the first, where they're going through the backwoods to get back to the Batcave, and they end up using that piece a lot in the marketing for all four Batmans, which is weird. They market the Batman Forever, Batman and Robin with Danny Elfman music, but that's a different topic. But the other one is from Batman Forever, where the bat signal has turned into a question mark, and then Batman flies through and breaks it up, and then you get that dun, 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 and Robin's speeding on the Batboat, and you're like, oh shit, this is about to happen. Like, it's the most amped up I've ever felt going into a third act, like maybe in any movie, because the music tells you, like, buckle up, here it comes, It's
quite a propulsive film too. I mean, the energy is so high. I mean, there are some smaller parts where Bruce and
Chase,
Dick Grayson, when they're like looking at the motorcycles, and like, I love how randy Chase is. Like, Chase is all about Batman, but it's still like the energy seems quite high in this one, and I really like. And you know what? This is the first time I've ever watched Val. So I watched the documentary Val. Listen to what he had to say about the movie. And then watching it again, you can tell that he's trying to find that duality of character. Like, Val, I mean, have you noticed this all along? But I feel like Val's trying to do something here. I don't know if you've picked up on that, like, with his performance. Like, he's trying to get both sides of it. Do you not think?
No, I definitely do. I think it's like, it's different than Keaton, where Keaton played it much more like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, like, especially in Batman Returns. Whereas I think Val Kilmer's Bruce has, like, accepted the fact that there are just two parts of him, and it's just like, well, which one can I be? Like, or which one do I care about more? Whereas, like, Keaton played as, like, I'm unaware that sometimes I black out and become Batman. But I always said, like, people would say, like, well, Batman Begins was the first movie that was about Batman. Like, wrong. Batman Forever was. Maybe it wasn't executed perfectly, but that was the first movie where, like, when you think about, like, who is your main, like, who's going through the changes in these movies, like, who is our protagonist? Like, in the first Batman movie, like, I would argue it's probably Kim Basinger. She's the only character that goes through any change. Like, Batman Returns is definitely Catwoman.
Yeah.
But Batman Forever, like, it's about Bruce. And that hadn't happened before. And I know we're talking about music, not necessarily the movie itself, but I do think, like, that does make Batman Forever stand out. And what I like about Elliot Goldenthal's score, to kind of tie it all back, is, like, I do think for as bombastic as, like, boom, 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 as some of those scenes are, like, the quiet moments, like, they really do shine. And I appreciate that Joel Schumacher had the restraint, which is something no one has said about the Batman movies, to not needle drop Kiss from a Rose into some of those scenes with him and Chase. Like, I'm sure there's a cut that exists where they did, but I'm glad that they didn't.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite facts, and before we start talking more about the soundtrack, but I was listening to Joel Schumacher talking about this movie. He's like, I got it done ahead of schedule and under budget, which that's probably one of my favorite all-time movie facts, because this movie is so big. The sets are so big. The costumes are so loud. There's so many stars in it. And then he got it done ahead of time and under budget. Like, that's a pro right there. And, like, that's I never would have guessed that about Batman Forever. I know a lot of people talk about Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey, but I just love that quote from him where he's just like, I got it done under budget and ahead of time. That just makes me happy.
I think people overestimate how much of a priority Batman was for Warner Brothers at that point. The first one was just this colossal event, but Batman Returns just kind of, like, I think it soured a lot of people, and especially in high up places, to the point where, like, it kind of wrote it off after one. And Batman Returns was not a failure. It made money. It didn't make Batman 89 money, but it made money. But at that point, I feel Joel Schumacher has kind of said, like, no one was really expecting that. It's like, yeah, we're going to do another Batman movie. Just, make it a little brighter and just do your thing. Like, I don't think he was bothered a lot by studio, which is why I think he was able to kind of do what he wanted, because he was like, we had to go to all these different partners and be like, we're making another Batman movie. Do you want to join us? He's like, by the time Batman and Robin came, it was the other way around. They're like, when are you guys doing the next Batman movie? We want to be in business with you. But this time they had to kind of pitch this. So I think he got it done so fast because no one cared and no one was looking at what he was doing.
Oh, that's the way to make a movie right there. I will say, I watched Batman Returns when I was about 10. And Danny DeVito's Penguin character, when he bites that nose of that guy, and when he eats that fish, and when he just oozes juice and hits on Catwoman, a 10-year-old brain, that was a lot for me to process when I watched that very young. That was a lot. I loved it. I think it's next to Unbreakable. It's probably my favorite superhero movie. But I remember distinctly watching Batman Forever at 13 and just getting hot, like the high again from it. It left me on just such a high. And you had, all right, we'll get into it, but Tommy Lee Jones off of Oscar win, Jim Carrey's Hotter Than Hot, Drew Barrymore, like, it was just crazy seeing all these people. And actually, Debbie
Mazar?
Debbie Mazar, she was in Empire Records and Batman Forever in 95. Two good soundtracks. Actually, I want to tell you some of the soundtracks that were in 95. Mortal Kombat, huge. Goofy movie. That one had a big soundtrack. Then you had Clueless.
Bigger than the movie.
Clueless.
Oh.
Friday. Bad Boys. Dangerous Minds. Waiting to Exhale. This was, even Pocahontas, I remember, was really big. Kids. Like, Larry Clark's a maniac, but that soundtrack was legit. You had Higher Learning came out that year, too. So you just had an insane wealth of soundtracks, and Spin broke all of them down, and they put Batman Forever at number 2, which I think is fair.
I do too. I think, like, when you talk of all those, I'm like, the two, for me, biggest cultural phenomenons were Kiss from a Rose and Gangster's Paradise.
Oh, everywhere. Yeah. I always joke
if
to my
you could get Weird Al to do a version of your song, like, you are in the top prize for that,
He needs a Kiss from the Rose cover now. I always joke around with my students about how I'm not going to Dangerous Minds them, and I'm not going to bring in a red leather jacket and show them karate to win them over. And they're always very thankful for that whenever I reassure them to let them know. Like, I'm like, listen, guys, I was like, I'm not going to Mr. Holland's Opus, y'all. That's what I always tell them, too. And they're like, who is this guy?
What a crazy subgenre of film that became around that time.
She shows him karate, puts on a red leather jacket and shows him karate. And
that movie is hot garbage, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
All right, so hey, getting back to the soundtrack. So we've talked about a lot of the score, but let's talk about the soundtrack itself with, Massive Attack, with Nick Cave, with Offspring. Like, what are your favorite songs? So if we had to draft 3 songs each from this soundtrack, so I'll let you have first pick, but you get to draft.
Okay.
You get to draft your first pick from this album. What would you take? If you're gonna have this album, this is on your mixed cassette that won't play in your car, so you have to get an adapter. But then you don't really have an adapter, so then you have to get another adapter. You have 3 adapters.
I'm also 8, so I'm not driving a car at this point.
Your bicycle on your
I'm on my bicycle.
Yeah, and you have a Walkman with your headphones, and you got 3 jams to listen to. What are you gonna take?
Okay. So I think the best needle drop in the movie that really, to me, cements Batman Forever as something so different than everything else and is, I think, my favorite song. I don't know. But it's Bad Day by Flaming Lips. That is my favorite part of that. Again, we're coming from these first 2 movies where we spent so much time building up the villain. And I'm not saying we don't do that in Batman Forever, but it's like he does this heinous act, and normally that would be like the next scene is him showing up in his Riddler costume. But this movie's like, but what if we follow him home and see what a loser he is? And I can't think of a needle drop where the lyrics match the character closer than that song. And he again, like, talk about the restraint. They pull out of that song before it gets to like where the song actually like ramps up and you hear like the guitars and the drums. Like, it just sounds like this messed up little ditty on a xylophone, and that's it. And then you're out, which is creepy. It's creepy and cool and funny,
And blowing the head off of your boss and get away with it.
Again, the
juxtaposition of like
the juxtaposition of the xylophone with like the most horrific lyrics after he just killed his boss. Like, it is. Like, it's perfect. It's almost like that. I don't think it was, but it's like that song was like written for that character, which is on this soundtrack in particular does not happen a lot. Where you're like, I can point to what character this song is probably about.
Oh man, yeah, and it does hit. I was in my truck going to work, and I've been listening to these soundtracks just to prep for this, kind of getting that headspace of these soundtracks, and this thing hits like 3 minutes in, 2 minutes in, like they start going for it. And like, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's a banger, but it hits. It goes for it. But no, it's a great call too, because it does, I always remember that when he's trying to come up with a name and it hits the red light and you sort of have alone time with Riddler. That's really important because, I guess it's refreshing that we don't get Two-Face. Two-Face is evil to begin with, so that's kind of fun. But I like watching Jim Carrey sort of become the Riddler and doing all that.
It's one of my favorite lines of the whole movie is during that montage where he walks in, he just goes up to his thing, he's like, guess what I did today? Like, it's so creepy, but it's also like dorky, and I'm just like, perfect for this version of what the Riddler is. Like, couldn't ask for a better moment,
Carrey put his, like, I really respect Tommy Lee Jones. Actually, I respect Joel Schumacher the most because they both trusted him enough to turn in the performances they did in this movie. Tommy Lee Jones, he's wildly animated in this film. And then Jim Carrey basically, I feel like, gives everything he has to it. So they had faith in Schumacher, which I think is pretty cool. You don't see this committed of performances many times.
Well, I think Tommy Lee Jones is just like, well, I can out Jim Carrey. Like,
yeah.
Well, let me show you. And look, honestly, like, I get it. It's the worst version of Two-Face ever. Fine, I'll take it. I don't see this as like Harvey Dent. I just see this as like, this is just a villain in this movie and his name is Two-Face, sure. But for the mere just like novelty of like, show me another movie where Tommy Lee Jones is on acid. Like, it doesn't exist. This is it. He's so straight-laced in every other movie. Like, you're never going to see this again, so enjoy it for 2 hours,
From The Fugitive to this, you're just like, it's whiplash to the extreme. Okay.
You see, like, you see like a pinch of it at the end of Men in Black when he's yelling at the roach. He's like, "Eat me!" I'm like, what if you had that for 2 hours?
Whoa.
Like that level of energy for 2 hours. I'm like, it exists. It exists in a film called Batman Forever, and it never happened again.
Man, he's so out there. I mean, I had the biggest smile on my face. All right. So you've taken Bad Days, and so I'm 13, right? We're saying our 13, our when we watch this in '95. That's what we're going with. So
yes,
I gotta take Smash It Up by Offspring. Like I think it's a bad.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a great cover. Actually, it's not a good cover, but it was Offspring in '95, and I was 13.
I didn't know it was a cover.
Yeah.
Until doing research for this. I had never heard of and again, I'm showing my age here. I didn't know the Offspring until Pretty Fly for a White Guy, which would be like 4 years later. Mm-hmm. That's when I was like, oh, there's a new band called the Offspring, completely unaware that they, existed before then. So at the time, that was just like, that was the Dick Grayson song. That's him joyriding in the Batmobile. Just like it fits that character in that moment perfectly.
They said they got paid $250,000 for that cover, which blows my mind. But yeah, I mean, I was singing Self-Esteem when I was 12. 12 years old singing that Self-Esteem. I got low self-esteem. Like I knew every word of that song at 12. I'm telling you, I was like,
better than like Creep, Oh,
I knew that one too. Yeah. That was good. Yeah. The one movie I do remember watching when I was young was Reservoir Dogs. And I was maybe like 11. And I remember feeling that I had a feeling in my chest. And I was just going, this is too much for me. I remember feeling that. At 11, I'm like, maybe I should back away from this. And I was like, maybe I should stop watching R-rated movies. But then I heard Lethal Weapon 2 was available to watch. So I was like, oh, no, I'm ditching this rule. But yeah, so 13-year-old me is taking Smash It Up because...
I have a question. Yeah. I have a question about that. Do you still feel that way watching Reservoir Dogs now? Like, can you feel like the nostalgic echo of like a child you? Because I feel that. So the first time I saw Batman, I only saw half of it, and it was because my babysitter brought over a VHS, and I knew I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I kind of just did anyway. And at that scene where he does the hand buzzer and kills the guy, I told my babysitter to turn it off, not because I was scared, but because I was like, if my mom comes home, like I don't want to get in trouble, because there was like a sense of danger while watching it. So to this day, when I watch Batman '89, like there's a sense of like danger to it. Like I shouldn't be watching this, but I am, and I love it. And no one, like I obviously can, but that feeling of like doing something like this is dangerous, like that has never left for whatever reason.
I guess for me, for movies, I think I was always watching those, so I never had that. I think if anything, I was like, this is too much for me, but I never had a like, the apple in the garden. Like I never had that. I never, so like like there was never like, Mark, you can't watch this. I would have gotten my hands on it. But I do remember movies that hit me too hard. Like I watched Demon Knight when I was younger, and I'm like, this is a lot for me. That's what I remember. Like that's the nostalgia I have, feeling like, whew, 12-year-old Mark shouldn't have been watching that.
Well, I'm never going to be the same again. Yeah. Now I'm great.
Innocence lost. Yeah. So, no, I'm taking Smash It Up. I mean, but it's because exactly like you said, it's when Robin starts fighting the Neon Gang with the neon sticks.
Which is great. I love that scene so much.
It's fun, and it still makes me happy that this movie is finished under budget and at a time because everything's just so big. I don't know how you drive in this city, but I don't care. Like I love it. Like
there never seems to be traffic, so it seems fair. Like as busy and congested as Gotham is, like Batman always seems to hit where he can just swerve right through it.
When cell phones are invented eventually, because cell phones were around in '95, but people are falling off those buildings because those roads didn't have barriers. A lot of them, they're just roads. No. Cars are landing on you.
I think that's like the joke of those Schumacher movies, and I'm just like, but that's what I love about Batman is that I don't like when Gotham City is Chicago. Like I've been there, I know, but like I like that Gotham is like I recognize this, but it's like from a weird nightmare that I had. Like it's not physically possible, but it could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It feels like Fellowship of the Rings, those two giant towers that they canoe between, meets New York City, meets Tim Burton's Gotham, New York City, Blade Runner, and Fellowship of the Ring were smashed into one with neon.
It was great.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I feel like they're starting to veer back a little bit because in the Batman, like Gotham it's like New York, but just 3 New Yorks crammed in. I was like, yes, we're back on the right track here. I like Gotham to be just like impossible.
Yeah, not a parking garage in Chicago that we've all seen.
Yeah. That we've all parked at.
Exactly. All right, so what's your second pick? So you have one cassette on. You have one song on your cassette. Now you got to pick another one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go basic bitch here. I do think of their whole catalog. I do think Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me is top echelon. It's one of the, at least for me, I don't equate U2 with like a hard sound. And I'm not saying this is like Metallica, but I do think that this is like uncharacteristically a little bit harder than most of their catalog. And I think it's just like it's a little mysterious with the strings kind of in there. It's a little sinister, but it also drives, like you leave that theater and you're just like, hell yeah,
It beats. No, like the guitar solo, Edge is wailing on it. It is probably one of their harder songs, I would say. Like it's not really it's not like an arena anthem ballad either, In the Name of Love and Sunday Bloody Sunday. This is more of a straightforward sort of rock. And that's what it was. That's what they marketed though. I remember people were like, U2 does rock. But I'm like, aren't they a rock band? But you're right, it's not Metallica, but it's for U2, it's more rock than their other ballads.
You know what I liken it to is like when the Beatles did Helter Skelter. Like it's not out of the realm of what they could do, but it certainly wasn't like what you would maybe think of as the Beatles sound. This is kind of how I feel about, and I'm not equating this with the songwriting of Lennon McCartney. I'm just trying to say like would not equate Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me as like quintessential U2 sound. But I think for this movie, like they put all their chips on this song. I don't think anyone expected Kiss from a Rose to like come from behind and kind of become the sound of this movie. But this was the lead single. This was the one that you leave the theater on. This was the first music video that came out. Again, I only saw it like twice, and I think one of them was like in a Sam Goody store or one of those equivalent stores was playing it, or Tower Records, whatever. I think it's like a genuinely good song, and to my knowledge, like they actually like play it on their tour still.
Oh wow. I mean, it hit. It's a good. If this busted out at a concert, I'd be stoked to hear it. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that opening, that
yeah.
Wow, like with the guitar pedal, like it just immediately grabs you. I think it's a cool song. And again, like I was talking about with Batman '89, there is now like this built-in sense of forbidden apple because my mom threw it away. I wasn't allowed to listen to it. So like is that little sense of danger of like, I think I just like the song even more because I wasn't allowed to listen to it.
The forbidden fruit of Bono.
Right, of all things, like, no, U2 is satanic. Like, what? Are you sure you have the right band?
The only CD I got confiscated was White Zombie. That was the only one that ever got confiscated, but then I got it back.
And why'd they take it?
Well, it was Rob Zombie, that more human than human. Like, I think they thought it was like a little too much for me. Okay. I was like, Mom, I'm listening to Metallica. I was like, I have this album. And they're like, all right, here you go. I think she tried to mom for a little bit. And I was like, why try now? But
I've already formed who I am as a person.
All right. So based on this, I remember when I was younger, my buddy and I would sit around and call MTV. And when we used to request Today by Smashing Pumpkins, we were like, put on Today, put on that music video. And we also used to want like Regulators by Warren G. Like, we love that song.
Yeah.
And so
that's a great song.
And by this time, I think, I already knew about, what Rage Against the Machine, like Wu-Tang was around. So I kind of knew about them by proxy. Then my cousin, who from Minnesota, he introduced us to a ton of stuff. He also got caught trying to steal a Rage Against the Machine cassette and a Spin magazine. And we had to sit at a record store for a while. When I think my mom had to come and like get us out of there. I didn't steal it. He tried. But I remember I would.
Were you allowed to hang out with them still after that?
Yeah. I mean, if he didn't, I probably would have. So it's fine. But I think I would do the Riddler by Method Man because I used to love, like, at that time in '95, you had some really good, like, you had some really good rap at the time. You had like stuff coming out of like the West Coast and all that. And well, this was East Coast Method Man, but I think I would have taken that just because, I used to love like listening to those soundtracks, what was on MTV at the time, like Regulators, everybody sang in elementary school. So like I probably would have taken that. I would do that. So that's my second one, is The Riddler by Method Man.
And again, you and I both didn't know that there was a Batman Forever inspired music video for this until I'm like, there's very little, almost nothing I don't know about Batman Forever. So this came as a shock to me, and especially too because the movie or the music video starts as an homage to The Godfather.
Yes.
And then it's like you get these like seizure-inducing clips of like the Riddler and Batman Forever, and it makes no sense. It's zero sense.
They just gave him money. It was like carte blanche to do whatever the heck he wanted.
I mean, part of me thinks that he had this song and he made a music video, and they're like, hey, can we actually like tie this in to Batman Forever? And he's like, okay. Because like there's very little reference to the Riddler in the song. It's there, but it's like something that like easily could have been like a V2,
Oh yeah. And remember what they said on I don't know if you read this, the reviews for this album, but they said it's just a bunch of B-sides. Like they're like, albums are just going to become B-sides from now on. I don't know if you read that. Like people were hating on this.
That's exactly what it feels like.
Oh yeah. This is entertainment. Batman Forever is a grab bag of pop and rock tunes without any sort of unifying theme. Much like the movie and its engulf and devour marketing strategy, the pop soundtrack, not to be confused with the instrumental score disc, aims for the most diverse cross-section of record buyers possible. They call it like a hodgepodge, tosses together teeth-grinding alternative rockers, like R&B and hip-hop, and like they kind of hated on it. But then the more I've been reading things about it, these people, like the executives, there's some pretty cool albums. But yeah, they're like, we're paying this much money for a B-side on that. But that's a lot of albums that came out at the time. So I thought that was pretty interesting that someone in 95, people were like, we should probably say inspired by, and this is kind of a B-side track. And then a lot of albums sort of became that. Like if you listen to them now, these aren't major release singles from a lot of these artists.
Right. No. In fact, like a lot of times if you're looking for at least on Apple Music, if you're looking for a song from an artist that was on one of these soundtrack albums, iTunes a lot of times doesn't have the soundtrack albums, but they'll have like a rarities and B-sides album from that band, and it's usually tucked in there somewhere,
But this album sort of, I mean, it went double platinum. I think this album, I don't know if it changed anything, but yeah, he's like, I think we're going to have to start doing inspired by the motion picture titles. The guy from Warner Brothers said that.
Yeah, it's and the funny thing is, it's like the concept of that is not new. I mean, like the liberty in which they use it was, but it's like, with the first Batman Prince thing, like Prince watched a rough cut of Batman '89, and I don't even know if he watched the whole thing. I think they didn't even have it finished yet. And then he went off and he wrote basically all those songs, and some of those songs he like, I was just joking, he actually did just kind of like, he's like, I have the song, I'll amend it a little bit, so like Vicky Waiting and stuff. So that was like truly inspired by this. I am fairly confident that Method Man probably has never seen Batman Forever.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, I would bet that like Brandy has never seen Batman Forever, but I don't know. Like, who knows?
She was too busy in 95. She was touring with Boyz II Men, had like a 6 million selling album and won a bunch of Grammys. Like
she was just on the precipice of exploding. She had Moesha.
Yeah, there's some big. This is a weird one where you have up and coming artists, you have some really cool ones like Method Man, and then you have Nick Cave and PJ Harvey. I do think whoever put this soundtrack together was quite smart though, because you have Brandy, you have The Offspring, you have Method Man, but then you have Nick Cave, PJ Harvey, just like kind of newer sort of, not grunge, but like rockers, like kind of cool. Getting Nick Cave, like they're in like Flaming Lips, like that's that's a good poll.
I didn't
But
know
it's
who PJ. I still don't know who PJ Harvey is. So I debated saying this, and screw it. I'll say it. Like I never heard of PJ Harvey. And again, remember, I'm 8 years old in 1995, so my scope is limited. But when I heard this song, I thought that it was like a Jack White Stripes type singer, and I was very surprised to find out that it's a female singer. I just, for whatever reason, I thought it was just like a skinny white guy.
I learned that in 2013 she was appointed a member of the Order of the British Empire for her services to music. So she's I guess huge in the UK. But I mean, yeah, I never really heard much about PJ Harvey growing up.
That song is like, it's literally two notes.
Yeah.
It's just two notes. That one's one of like my least favorite on the album, just because like I get bored very quickly.
Crossing the River kills me, Billy. That song, I'm crossing the river. And then that one.
There's that one is bizarre. The NXS one is also like, I was like, is this like for Austin Powers? Like it's like a Doors. It sounds very The Doors.
Yeah, for the passenger, it's like if you're gonna cover Iggy Pop, that the point of the passenger is to be very menacing. That song, like, I am the passenger. Like this one's more. Someone said a really great word for it, portentous. They used for it, which made me very happy that they used that. But yeah, that one doesn't really quite hit. And also, I just want to say, Nobody Lives Without Love. Like that one, it's good.
My note for that is, this is the best James Bond song for a movie that never existed.
It's
like, it feels like that. Remember that Shirley Manson World Is Not Enough?
Yeah.
It feels very much like Nobody Lives Without Love was like a Bond movie that was supposed to come out and it just never happened.
Just put it on this one. Yeah.
And then the one after it, it's like Maisie Star or something like that. That to me just kind of felt like indicative of that. That's where out of everything on this album, I felt was like the most like corporate synergy. Like, we have our next like Fiona Apple. Can you just throw her on this soundtrack and kind of, like they do it with TV shows all the time. You kind of put your new show in between two established ones. So you get
your
that
Thursday night lineup. Remember that with Friends, and then some blah blah show, then Seinfeld, then some blah blah show.
So I feel like this was the blah blah show between some of these. Never heard of this singer, never heard of them again after this. But
all right, so what's your third song? What you gonna do?
My third song, I feel like I should disqualify it, but I can't. How do you have a mix down, an EP of Batman Forever, and not put Kiss from a Rose on it?
Yeah,
like aside from the cultural significance of that song and that summer, like, it's still a good song. My daughter, she's 2. She loves that song, and she loves the music video, the real music video, not the first one that he shot that no one has seen. Mm-hmm. She likes to watch the music video. Goes, "Where's Batman? Where's Batman?" It's just like it's a good song. It's dark. It's like, if you listen to the lyrics, like, this is not like a well person, and it is not a healthy relationship. Whatever it's like borderline obsessive, which I'm like, that kind of fits with Batman. Like, it's about obsession, and like, it's not like love. It's like, I need you like a drug,
And it gets your heart beating too, because like, did you know that when it snows my heart? Like, then he belts out like it's like it's a belter, but it's also like, you could sing this in your car. I think most people whenever Goo Goo Dolls come on and Iris comes on in my car, I'm singing it. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna be looked at very weird. I'm channeling Meg. I'm not gonna channel Meg Ryan from that movie. I'll channel Nick Cage from that. I'm not opening up my arms and driving. But it's yeah. I mean, you're gonna belt that song out. But did you know, like, the cadence, the singing, and just hit at the right time.
I mean, it's really to like, look, I know that there's the theories that it's about heroin or whatever. I don't know, that he's shooting up and that's what he's talking about. But to me, like, even if it's my own mind making headcanon and doing gymnastics, I try to find some sort of like thematic link between a character and one of the songs. Doesn't happen a lot on this album, but this album feels like Bruce's struggle that he has the whole movie with being Batman, but also wanting to be with Chase, where it's just like, the more I get of you, the stranger this feels, because Bruce is not someone that knows like how to love very well. Like this is kind of new to him, but it's like I do believe it's like a weird obsession to the point where he was willing to give up Batman to be with this person, you know? And I think there's a melancholy to the song that is reflected in the film of like, I want to try to be with you, but I can't deny that part of me will always be this thing, you know?
And there's, you know, there's also everything you just said, then like the danger of, you know, your 13-year-old brain thinking Kiss from a Rose, which has thorns and that's dangerous. And like, you know what I mean? Like even as a kid, you kind of like can place some things together. Then you get older, you sort of look for more ways to tie it to the movie. And there are some songs like There Is a Light by Nick Cave, like Batlight. You know, The Hunter Gets Captured by the Game, Batman. It's like if you were cornered, Billy, actually, you could probably make a case for all these.
Captured by the Game is definitely a Chase Meridian song, like hands down. That is her MO, and the whole thing is it's a very sexy, slowed down song, but that's her thing. She's coming to Gotham to hunt down the Batman, but she's the one that kind of like gets ensnared by Bruce, you know? Like I definitely think that is a Chase Meridian song through and through.
Her saying "Bring your damaged psyche," doesn't she say that? Like, and bring your damaged psyche. Yeah. Like I love that line.
Okay. I'll bring the wine. You bring your damage. Which when I was a kid, I thought that this is the logic of an 8-year-old. I thought that was a mistake. I thought that was an editing error because I thought she said, I'll bring the wine, you bring your damaged sidekick. And I was like, wait, how does she know about Robin? Robin hasn't come into the movie yet. There was a lot about the adult themes in this movie that just went so far beyond my head as a kid that now I'm like, oh, no wonder my dad, who never sees a movie twice, took me to see this 4 times, you know?
4 times? Oh, wow. What's the most you've ever watched a movie?
Oh, no, that was just 4 times. This was just 4 times with my dad, not how many times I saw it, period, in the theater. I saw this thing. I mean, the most I've ever seen any movie in the theater, I think, was The Dark Knight. I saw that 10 times in its theatrical run. But Batman Forever, summer of 95 cannot understate how much that summer of films changed me as a person, because 2 of my all-time favorite films, my number 1 favorite film of all time came out 1 week later, which was Apollo 13. And so I was at the movies that whole summer, and basically if I wasn't seeing Apollo 13, I was seeing Batman Forever.
2 good movies right there.
2 very different end of the spectrum, but like it's and then, you know, like Goofy Movie comes along and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, you know, for a kid in 1995, like that summer was formative and magic when you're 8 years old, you know?
Is that why one day to work you would wear a sleeveless shirt, unbuttoned shirt, and then the next day you just wore a vest and had a crew cut? And
it's true.
You were trying to be Ed Harris from that movie.
I was. I think you may have heard me say failure is not an option, or let's work the problem, people. Let's not make things worse by guessing. I use that all the time.
I'm doing an episode about the best moments involving characters staring at screens, and I might just add Ed Harris to that list.
I don't know how you can't.
Yeah, that's great screen staring.
Ed Harris is usually like, there's a curmudgeon-y dick even to like the good guys that he plays, except Apollo 13. It is so straight, like that is your hero. There's no ambiguity about it, which I love, you know?
It's so good. Well, I'm obsessed. I did a 95 week, but that was like for me different. I guess I had Mallrats. You had Desperado. I watched Desperado, and I went to a flea market, bought throwing knives, went out into my lawn barefoot. I threw the throwing knife into the palm tree. It bounced off of the palm tree and landed in between my toes. And then that was the last time I ever did a throwing knife at that time.
How did you find a throwing knife?
Oh man, I bought all those knives as a kid. I had a huge knife. I had a butterfly knife. I had a switchblade when I was young. You're Fairland in Florida and you go to flea markets, they'll sell you anything. So it's yeah, that was my youth. But I guess I'll close this out here with the final pick. So you have let's see, what did you take? I
took Bad Days, Hold Me, Throw Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, and I have to take Kiss from a Rose because I just think it's a great song. They marketed it as the love theme from Batman Forever. I get it. It's, it's so funny. It's like, to a lesser extent, it's the same kind of thing as like everyone kind of thinks that, or they associate All Star from Smash Mouth with Shrek.
Mystery
And it's
Men.
like, exactly. Those of us who were around remember like the music videos, Mystery Men. It was from Mystery Men, but now you say All Star, and immediately people think of Shrek. It's to a much bigger extent. Same thing with Kiss from a Rose, where it's like that song was a year old already. But now it's like it's linked with Batman Forever. Good for Seal, man. That I'm not gonna say it launched his career. It didn't, but it definitely like made him a household name. Exactly.
Shrek 2.
It's
Accidentally
just so
in Love. Accidentally in Love. Shrek 2.
if like you were watching Space Jam and you found out like I Believe I Can Fly was actually from like the Page Master, and you're like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, when he becomes animated for the first time, I Believe I Can Fly.
It's like, you're like, I had no, like, that's the level of like when people find out that Kiss from a Rose is not from Batman Forever. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, that it kind of blew. I was like, there's a Never-Ending Story 3. I think I wanted to get away from the franchise after the first one destroyed my life.
I've never seen any of them. I've never seen a Never-Ending Story.
I was a child watching that horse get killed and that wolf. Oh gosh. Yeah. All right. So my last one, I'm going to take 8 by Sunny Day Real Estate. I had never heard about them before, but this one's kind of I hate saying this word. I'm not, this is either wildly dated or I'm trying to sound younger, but it hits. Like, it's kind of a banger. Like, it goes, and super emo. I'm super emo. And the more I read about the Sunny Day Real Estate, the more I appreciate it. But 8 goes. Like, it's not like a really bad. It's not. I'm not gonna call them bad covers, but it's not like a subpar cover. It's kind of one of the. I don't know. It hits. It's like 5 minutes 27 seconds. But I was in my truck listening to it, and I was feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with Offspring. I'm happy with Method Man, and then what? The song 8. Why am I forgetting that? The Sunny Day Real Estate. That's strong. 13-year-old me's happy. If someone stole my headphones from me and put these 3 songs on, they'd be like, "You're pretty cool, Mark."
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed to be caught listening to any of that.
Listen, if someone takes my Spotify, they're gonna find a lot of Avril Lavigne and everything. I don't care either. So listen, that song by Avril Lavigne, I think it's like Hell Yeah. It's a banger, man. I love it. I keep saying banger, but yeah, I don't know. Also,
I don't know a single male that does not have Kelly Clarkson somewhere in their music collection.
Since You've Been Gone, man. And the cover by Day to Remember, they wail on that cover. So, dude, I'm all about that song. Heck yeah.
I don't shame anyone for music.
No,
because I definitely, I'm not a music theorist, but I do think that there are like certain chord progressions and kind of musical things that's just like, it almost doesn't matter who sings the song. It's like, if I hear that, like when I hear like descending, like, minor chords, like for some reason, like my ear is drawn to it, and it could be Demi Lovato or it could be The Who. It doesn't matter,
Ooh, that's really interesting. I've never thought about it like that. I mean,
yeah, if you were to like if I had made a playlist of like all the songs that I really like I'm sure someone who's very musically inclined could find like the pattern of like why the artists are so different, but he's like, oh, within the music you like this thing,
Oh, I want to do that now, because one of my favorite songs is the first single by The Format, and like he kind of stretches out words, and I also love the Whiskey in a Jar cover by Metallica, and they do the same thing. So that's interesting. Also, there's billions of people on this planet, dude, and we're all from different places, and we all enjoy different things. So
that's also true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anthropologically speaking, I think there's just something about like descending minor chords that resolve. For some reason, it's like my ear is instantly like, yep, I like that song. So there you go.
Give me some emo, and I'm happy. Give me some Taking Back Sunday. I'm all about it. All right, so any final thoughts about Batman Forever? I know, like, you love this movie. This is probably one of your favorite, well, your second favorite movie, because Apollo 13 is your favorite movie.
Yeah, Apollo 13, and even like I think I'm past the point in my life where I have to justify a ranking of like, this is number 1 and this is number 2. There's a lot of movies that I'm like, yeah, that's number 1, this is number 1, that's number 1.
Yeah,
whatever.
What day of the week, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like, those first 4 Batman movies are just so special to me that I'm past the point of trying to justify or debate. I don't want to I think the least interesting conversation you can have with someone is like, well, is it good or is it bad? It's like it's completely irrelevant. It's this one emotionally satisfies me from like I just find, like you said, it's like a kind of like a rousing roller coaster while you watch it, but also like I can't and I don't want to divorce my feelings of how I felt as a kid watching this. It was great. But I do think, like I really implore people who are on the fence when they're like, I do think that Batman Forever and Batman and Robin get lumped together. I think if you just watch these two back to back, you'd be like, whoa, Batman Forever is actually really tonally different from Batman and Robin. And two, watch Batman and Returns and Batman Forever back to back because they are not as different as you think. Like, they're like, Batman Forever gets so crazy. I'm like, my man, the third act of Batman Returns is penguins with rockets strapped to their back. Like, we were already in crazy town before we got here, okay? Like, as much as I love Batman Returns, let's not act like that movie didn't already dip a toe into the camp water,
It's uber camp, that movie. And Batman murders people, too. That's why when everyone was complaining about Snyder's Batman killing people, I'm like, yo, if you mess with Keaton, you take a beating. So
snitches get stitches, exactly. Get beatings. I don't, again, like whatever the story is telling me, like I'm not one of those people like Batman has to be this. I'm like, no, just as long as your Batman is consistent with whatever world you've set up in this particular movie, I'm fine with that. The other thing I will say about that too is they're like, oh, Batman kills in those. I'm like, but Batman Forever actually does the bravest thing possible, which is Batman confronts it. He admits it. He's like, so you're willing to take a life. This is how it's going to go. You take one, and that's not going to be enough because that doesn't make you feel better. So you do it again and again and again. And then you wake up one day and you realize you're me. That's what he literally tells Dick. He takes ownership of like killing the Joker, killing the Penguin, killing henchmen. And he's like, dude, I know this is what you think is going to make you feel better. I've killed a buttload of people and I still feel like crap. Like the fact that like this movie like owns up to like these like Batman quote unquote problems. It's like, at least they use it in a way that like enhances the character.
I need to watch this again, even though I just watched it twice. I'm gonna go back at it with fresh eyes. Oh man, Kilmer's better than I ever remembered. I never thought about Kilmer when I thought about this movie. Never. Like my entire since '95, it's been Jim Carrey. It's the Tommy Lee Jones saying I don't like condone your buffoonery or something. I don't
right.
For me it's been all about that, or it's Batman. Like I love that guy and and that kind of stuff and just the drive through and the spectacle of it. I've always adored it, but I've never really thought about Kilmer in it. But watching it now after watching Val, I like he's trying, and that's what I don't know, I like about it. It's good.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like it's flawlessly executed. It's definitely a little shoehorned in there. And there are parts of the story that got cut, that the deleted scenes are out there if you want to see them, that kind of help flesh out the Bruce part. I'm very anti this release the Schumacher cut thing that people say. I'm very anti that because Joel Schumacher has said many times, I put out the movie I wanted. Like, yes, there's a lot of other stuff and we cut it out, but it's not like, they made him. He's like, no, I wanted to start the movie this way and I wanted it to move this way. So I would never want to see a cut now that he's gone. But I just think there's more pathos in this movie than anyone wants to give it credit for, even if it doesn't 100% align. Like, I think he's trying. I love the thing, and I don't even know if this was intentional. This might be another like headcanon thing, but do you remember that scene where he closes his eyes and he sees his parents' murder, and the guy who shoots him almost looks like Harvey Dent, as opposed to like Jack Nicholson? At least it did to me as a kid. And I always loved this idea. And again, maybe I'm putting something in that wasn't there, but I love this idea that it's like Batman sees whoever he's facing now is the one that hurt him as a kid, and it justifies the violence that he's about to bring upon them, which then makes his speech to Dick makes sense even more later when he's like, you're just going to put Harvey Dent's face on anybody that ever crosses you, and it's never going to be enough. It's never going to make you feel better.
Sounds like he's mementoing himself.
Kind of a little bit. And I think like
wow.
A little bit of that. There's like comic book precedent of like Bruce kind of projecting the villains into that role of his parents' killer. And I think that there's like, for this movie, it works beautifully because that that symmetry of what Dick is going through. I don't think that the payoff necessarily at the very end is like satisfying, the way that he's like, you can't kill Two-Face, but we can just confuse him to death. That is okay.
Throw these coins in the air. He could ignore them and live, or not. Yeah.
Or he could just wait till one of them falls on the platform he's standing on and just bend over and pick it up. But I digress.
We're not really killing them if we just throw coins in the air.
Batman Forever ultimately to me is just fun. Of the first 4 movies, no matter how I feel about all of them, I think Batman Forever is the most fun. I think it's trying to have the most fun. I think Batman and Robin is trying to have the most fun. But I think Batman Forever is the most fun for everybody. For the filmmakers, they're having a good time because I don't think Warner Brothers cares what they're doing. It comes through that they're having a good time. I have a good time watching it. I still think that it's a fun movie. Yeah, it's dumb, but comic books are dumb. Batman's dumb, you know?
Well, yeah, and like it's different. It's bright. It's loud. It's brash. It's out there. It's big. It's a spectacle. As much as I like the Nolan Batman films, there's so many plot holes in there. Like there's so many silly moments. Like I like that this movie embraces the silliness of it.
There's a group of us that exist, and I've talked about this with them, where it's just like, the more you try to make Batman real, the sillier it kind of gets. So that's why, like, I love the Nolan movies. I like the Batman a lot, but I think I'm always gonna love those first 4 because they're like, this can't really happen. This is just kind of like a silly, gross exaggeration, and I'm like, yep, that's where Batman should live for me.
My favorite scene of all the Batman movies is Batman Returns, where it feels like Bruce Wayne's just sitting there waiting for the bat symbol to turn on. He's just in his house, waiting in the dark, nothing to do, but he's just waiting. He's just waiting to go put a hurting, Keaton put a beating on somebody. And just, that's my favorite part, because this guy, that's what Batman is to me. Batman, like Bale's Batman, like Keaton's kind of crazy, right? And that makes sense for a dude who dresses as a bat. Like he's kind of lost it a little bit. He's unnerved. Right. So whenever I see a normal dude playing Batman, you're kind of like, I don't know. So yeah.
That was Tim Burton's kind of whole reasoning of getting Keaton, was he was like, if I go get Arnold Schwarzenegger, he doesn't need a bat suit. He could just walk down the street and beat your ass. Like, you need someone who needs a suit because they know that no one's going to take them seriously without it, you know?
Oh, and especially in the late 80s too, like to cast Keaton in, like, you had Bruce Willis the year before, and then Keaton, right. Like that was sort of a changing of the guard, and then 90 was Keanu Reeves in Point Break. So you kind of, and again, it's like this idea of like this masculinity and this like hard body hero, where it's like there's a kind of meta subtext of like Bruce knows this, and he's like, well, no one's gonna take me seriously, but if I dress up as like this chiseled demon, this gargoyle that came to life that you thought was just perched at the top of a church, but really I'm real, that's the only way I can scare anyone. And I think the first movie does that the best. I think Batman Forever is kind of a graduation of that. One of my favorite Batman shots, period, in any of those movies is the one where, and the first time you watch it, you probably don't even realize it, but it's like Dick is way in over his head. He's beat up a couple neon guys, but he's like, uh-oh. And he tries to climb, and then the top right is just in the shadows is Batman. I'm like, how can you look at that and say that this is not tonally reminiscent of the last 2 movies you just watched? That's exactly out of Burton's, movies. And the fear they had of him too was lovely.
Right.
All the neon people just run. When neon people run from you, you're tough.
Yeah, exactly. I love the neon gangs. I don't understand. It's like, yeah, why in this nightmare place would you just have like 2 guys in a beanie? You have the mutants. They're like the mutants from the Dark Knight Rises, or not Dark Knight Rises, Dark Knight Returns. The comic books. Like they're very reminiscent of this like seedy, weird underbelly of Gotham. I'm here for it. I never get into the debate of is it good or not, but I will talk all day about how much I appreciate and love it.
But like, I think it was what it was meant to be. I think Schumacher, like, also good is very subjective, right? But I think Joel Schumacher captured what he wanted. I think that's like, and this was the biggest movie in '95. People liked this movie. Like, this wasn't. you don't become that big without repeat customers and it capturing the imagination and weekend holds.
Isn't that bizarre that we all culturally kind of decided that this ruined Batman? It's like, really? Because it sold way more tickets than Batman Returns. So it's the Nickelback theory of economics, where it's like, somebody's buying it. You can all shit on it, but somebody's buying it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't become Nickelback and get that amount of recognition if nobody cares, you know?
Yeah, just the loud kind of vocal minority on social media, and then people are like, I don't care, man. I like Photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think most people are like, yeah, I remember that song. That's fine, you know, at most. But I think Batman Forever, again, like, it just unfortunately got lumped in with Batman and Robin, where I really, you know, you don't have to, but it's like, if you're interested, like, watch those two back to back. They feel more separated than Batman Returns to Batman Forever.
Oh, all right. I haven't wanted to watch Batman. Well, I had to. Yeah, it's just.
I like Batman and Robin for completely different reasons, and I seriously hope that we can do a follow-up episode of the soundtrack for that.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, I'm down. I'm just happy you're out of retirement. I brought you back out.
Yeah, I will always talk about those first 4 Batman movies. So.
And the amount that I learned researching this was a lot of fun. Like, I loved learning about the soundtrack, how it got put together, how much it sold, like all these different bands I know about now. Like, it got me thinking about the Crow soundtrack again. So yeah, I love this This was fun, and I thank you for coming out of retirement, out of Hot Takes. Hot Takes with Billy Business is back in business.
My hot take is like, I enjoy the things I like. Ooh, sizzling.
Yeah. That's why I think Movies, Films, and Flicks will never be one of the we got a good audience, awesome audience, but it's not one of those shows that's like, I hate it, or I love it, or we're kind of just chill about stuff. So I love, we'll be like a fun niche show, and I like that about it. But I don't know.
Very international. I hope your international audience loves Batman Forever as much as
we were just number 3 in Vietnam. I was number 1 in Ireland, Billy Business.
Wow, the motherland.
That was sweet. I've been top 20 in 70 countries now. I'm the Paul W.S. Anderson of podcast. MFF is the Paul W.S. Anderson of podcasts. Big worldwide. America, they like me, but
they just don't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm big. I'm like Paul W.S. Like, those Resident Evil movies were huge in Japan and China, and so yeah.
But also, you might just get some people who confuse you for the other Paul Anderson, which is great. That's always the goal.
Yeah, I'm the Paul Thomas Anderson and I'm the Paul W.S. Anderson of podcasts. Like, put that together. I don't even know where to begin with that. Like, licorice pizza.
There's a mashup for you.
Licorice
resident pizza.
I was gonna say resident, like licorice evil, but I like yours. Resident pizza. Resident pizza. A zombie film in the valley.
There will be licorice.
Oh man,
there will be. Yeah, there's a lot.
You could drink a milkshake with licorice, because you could bite off ends, get a long one.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely straight out of the Willy Wonka playbook. You know,
that's the sequel. There will be blood too. Licorice. Wait, red licorice blood. All right.
Resident licorice.
When I'm accepting my Blockbuster award, because they're back, I'm gonna thank you, Billy.
Please, please know that I support all Andersons, Pauls of this community.
All right, so you want to plug anything? People follow you on Twitter?
No.
No
plugs.
You really gave me perspective about something. No, I just want to tell you this before you go. You said that you're too old to like things ironically anymore, and I sort of live by that now, because that's exhausting. I just want to like things. I just want to talk about the things I like. I'm not above or below anything.
I just think, like, you can definitely love the Sharknadoes of the world. If that's your jam, great. But I can't love something just for the irony of, like, well, that's funny. I'm like, I don't have time. I legitimately love a handful of things, and that's what I will talk about.
I love it. So yeah, Batman and Robin next. I can't wait for that.
Another bonkers soundtrack.
Coolio.
Who is listed as Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, in the credits of the film.
Wow.
That is, we have so much to talk about.
I can't wait. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Billy Patterson, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.